First up is Nathan, and yeah, this is looking pretty good. Um, it looks like you maybe have combined these, which I wouldn't tend to do at this point, so I would do mesh separate to make those back into their. Oh, let's try it again. Oh, it won't separate. Interesting. Oh, I see how you've built this. It looks like you've extruded these out of here rather than built them as separate primitive shapes. Okay, well that's fine. One thing you might want to do is select these edges, and you might notice they look sort of faceted right now. Like, if you look at, in this view, you see all those faceted edges. So if I shift right mouse click and do soften, harden edges, soften edge, now they look all smooth. You can see that. But yeah, it's coming along well. Next up is Candace, and it looks like you got a little further along, which is good. It's coming along well. Might want to make sure there's not like a gap there between those two. It could just, make this a bit longer so it sort of intersects the other surface. And probably wouldn't have this guy intersecting the bevel there. Maybe it's, these are a little smaller. Oh, there's two of them there. Careful of that, and or a little lower. So you might think about doing that. But then you'd want to match the other ones is the only catch, which would probably mean just deleting these other ones and duplicating it again, just easier to match the size. But yeah, overall coming along well. This is Anton, and yeah, I would say I imagine this to be a little bit more cube shaped, and then therefore this body would then have to be that much thicker too. Also the feet look a bit narrow there. I think these are going to be a little thicker, and I think they're also longer. So yeah, maybe just some adjustment to the proportions of those. Probably wouldn't have quite so big of a difference in size from the shoulder to the elbow, so you might play with some of that scale. But yeah, looks like you got all those basic shapes. You could just do a little bit better, I think, with the proportions. This one's coming along. I think I might try to make the two arm segments equal length and make sure this intersects that. So maybe a slight rotation here too, something like that. And yeah, I imagine the head to be a little bit more cube shaped, so and then therefore the body would need to be a bit bigger too. I think I'll probably touch smaller there, something like that. Something like that. It's looking a bit wide here, but just thinking maybe it's not quite as tall, and then something more like that. I'm not sure. Also the foot I think might be a bit thicker this way. It's a bit long. It's all guesses because you just have that front view, but that's sort of what I picture. But yeah, we got the basics in there. Keep going. This is Shelley, and yeah, it looks like you add a few more. That's another one where, yeah, I'd really look at the side and say, I think that's much too thin, both with head and body, and I'd have the body thicker than the head. And even the legs on this one, I might go a bit thicker. And certainly the feet longer this way, but maybe not quite as tall. Something like that. Give it a little bit more bulk. Yeah, these parts seem to be coming along well. So yeah, looks good. You got the basic shapes in there, so keep going. Okay, this is Kay, and I think it's looking good. I think maybe this hand's a little small, and I think maybe not such a big difference between the the length of the two arm segments. I might make this one a bit longer. So the two halves are a little more equal. And I mean, it's okay to have a little bit of a gap there. I might push it a touch closer and not have it overlap the top here, so I'd move this down. And yeah, I'd go a little thicker on the body, a little bulkier, maybe a little bit more on the head. Make it more square shaped, cube shaped, that is. Yeah, but this is coming along well. This is Jesse. Strange thing, I wasn't able to open the file, and then I changed the suffix to MB, and I was able to open it because I opened it in a text editor and it looked like binary, not an ASCII file. So yeah, I might go a little thicker on these as I've been doing with a few of them, just give it a little more bulk. Yeah, maybe a little bit more length on the arms, and yeah, I think this is coming along well. No big issues. You're getting the basic shapes in there. Looks good. This is Natalie. This has come along a little further, which is good. I might go a little thinner on these legs. They look a little thick compared to the body. And then likewise maybe these guys a little bit, but could be a touch longer. Make sure these are centered on the legs. That one looks okay, but this one looks off. And yeah, it looks like you got a lot of extra detail in there. It looks a little thick and fat with these pieces. You got shoulder, elbow, wrist. I would add that kind of hand sort of. I believe I used a Taurus for that. Did I use a Taurus or pipe for that? You might want to use a pipe for that. It looks like you've already got a lot of detail in here, which is good. So these I might keep spherical, so I would keep a proportional scale on those. So make the Z the same as the Y, I guess, right? No, Y the same as the X. So like 0.412. Keep that round. I think it'll look better, but maybe shrink it down some. It looks a little big. Yeah, coming along nicely. Next up is Julia, and yeah, it looks pretty good. I think you went a little long on the arm segments here. I might shorten those down a bit by, moving this in and then sort of rotating that and whoops. Moving that down, maybe down a little bit. Starting to look a little better, and I also think that these are. Oh, there's some weird rotates on that, by the way, which aren't good. Probably get that zeroed out there, straighten that out, and I would think. I didn't do that. No, that was already like that. So. Yeah, maybe a little wider, more like so, and then because this wasn't that much thinner than the other pieces, the joint pieces, and this now needs to, whoops, yeah, scale down. And well, I would duplicate this one at this point to make it match the rest of them. So yeah, I think a few different changes there. I believe I used a pipe for the hand, not another cylinder. And I'll start out with a cube for these. It looks like, I'm guessing you started out with a cylinder. So I would, because we're going to do some beveling stuff to get the right shape. So swap that out for a cube. Yeah, keep going. Next up is Shawn, and yeah, it looks good. I think I might go a little maybe longer on the body, and a little maybe shorter on the face. And then adjust accordingly. The rest of the stuff maybe a little thicker here, because I imagine it to be more cube shape, and then this would be a little more thick. And these are a little flat looking. I might go a little taller on those. Move them down a bit, something like that. I think you went a little bit big on these guys. I think we can adjust the radius here, is that right? Yeah. Maybe the thickness is smaller or something like that. And also maybe move it out some. So, yeah. But it's coming along well. In general, you got all the basic shapes there. This is Warren, and yeah, it looks like you really moved ahead on this, which is fine. I think I might show you some different ways to do some stuff, but that's okay. These are mirrored, so I would probably separate them, and I would tend to think this would be a little closer to the thickness of those. And as I've been doing with a lot of these, I really kind of picture his head to be a little bit more cube-shaped. Something like that. And this I don't think would be, the scale would be disproportionate. I think it would be the same, and that's Z and Z and Y. So 0.27. Make those even, and then centered on the head. Maybe down a bit. Yeah, it's coming along well though. You've got a lot of the extra detail. I think the depth on a lot of these details is too much, so I would actually, make all that a little shallower, not quite sticking out so far, because they're just, especially these guys all look, a lot too far sticking out. But yeah. And the feet are looking a little big right now. Might go a little smaller on those. But good work so far. This is William, and again, as I mentioned with another one, replace these with a cube. We're going to get the rounded stuff going on with some bevels. So put a cube in there, and like I've been doing with a lot of these, I tend to think these are a bit thicker than some of you guys have them. And then you want to recenter the other stuff. It looks like you got to start. I think we're going to do some of these pieces a little bit differently. I think it'll get you some better results than what you have, but it's good that you've just tried to block stuff in. That's fine. Yeah, I think the proportions of the arms look pretty good. So yeah, the big thing is to replace the feet with cubes and follow along with the beveling thing on that, and replace some of these pieces here.